Kitty's Micro Solutions, powering business intelligence.
To Kitty's Micro Solution Services. We provide innovative solutions tailored to your business needs. Let us help you achieve your goals today.
Are you searching for business accounting management software? Here is an explainer video. Please take a look.
Okay, let's kick things off. If you run a business, especially one juggling manufacturing, distribution, and dealing with various tax rules, well, you know how much time can get swallowed just managing the chaos, right? Or forget running the actual business sometimes. So today we're doing a deep dive into a system that's specifically built to tackle that chaos, KMS BUSY. Our mission here is to really get under the hood, go past the usual marketing stuff, and understand how this all-in-one solution pulls together things like inventory, production, and frankly, a pretty complex web of tax compliance needs. The idea is to help businesses move from just wrestling with spreadsheets to running things, smarter. We're really looking at what happens when software has to be deeply localized.
Exactly. And what jumps out from the source material is this picture of a really robust, very tailored solution. It's clearly focused heavily on deep regional compliance. This isn't some generic global software that's just been tweaked a bit. It feels like it was built from the ground up, thinking about the specific operational and regulatory complexities you find across South Asia particularly.
Yeah.
It seems designed to anticipate some pretty niche requirements.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with the basics then. How is it actually defined? The sources are quite specific here. KMS BUSY is described as the complete business accounting management GST VAT ERP software. ERP enterprise resource planning, that signals it wants to be the central hub, the brain of the operation. And it's targeting all types of businesses, manufacturing, distributor, and retailer.
Mm-hmm. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, the sheer range of industries they mention right off the bat, that signals a serious commitment to customization. High levels of it. We're not just talking generic invoicing here. They list tailored solutions for things like iron and hardware, cloths, paints, okay, fairly standard maybe, but then you see cotton and rice mills, very traditional specific sectors.
Right, and it doesn't stop there. They mention large FMCG supermarkets, shopping malls, but also a market yard commission agents. Now that's interesting. That immediately tells you the software has to understand commodity trading, agent commissions, very different from your standard point-of-sale system.
It really does. That list suggests they've embedded the unique workflows of these, non-standard businesses directly into the ERP logic. And probably the most striking example of this hyper-localization, it's in the features for the agricultural sector. The sources talk about pesticides, seeds, and fertilizers businesses.
Okay.
And specifically call out that the retailer features must handle the requirement for an agriculture officer report just for pesticide shops.
Wow. Just stop there for a second. An agriculture officer report.
Yeah.
That's a specific piece of local compliance paperwork. You're right, no standard international ERP package would likely even know that exists. It tells you immediately compliance isn't just a module bolted on, it's like woven into the core design.
Exactly. It's a design driver.
Okay, before we dive deeper into the functions, let's quickly touch on the visual identity. It's subtle, but the logo. It shows 3 stylized figures, one main one, 2 smaller above a sort of stylized open book with KMS underneath. Kind of suggests knowledge, maybe community support.
Possibly. Focus on guidance or structured business, perhaps.
Okay, but trying to cater to all these different industries, rice milling, fertilizer sales, supermarkets, doesn't that risk becoming a massively bloated, hard-to-use system? How does KMS BUSY seem to manage that customizability without sacrificing usability?
That's a fair question. Balancing that depth with ease of use is always tricky. The answer seems to lie in how they integrate the really critical operational functions. They put a heavy emphasis on smart inventory control. And it's not just about counting what you have at the end of the month. It's about precision, tracking every single item from raw materials all the way to finished goods, maintaining constant visibility of your stock levels. For manufacturers especially, this level of detail is just non-negotiable. They manage BTCH tracking, lot tracking, size, color.
Right. Like for textiles or paints, you'd need to know exactly which batch or dye lot was used.
Precisely. For quality assurance, for traceability if there's ever a recall, that granularity is absolutely essential for meeting industry standards and, managing risk.
And sticking with manufacturing, what about situations where part of the production process isn't done in-house, outsourcing?
Yeah, good point. The production and process management features seem designed for that kind of complex multi-stage workflow too. They handle bills of materials, basically the recipe for making the product. And crucially, the The sources mention specific management capabilities for job work.
Okay, let's pause on job work. That might be jargon for some listeners. What does that actually mean for business using the software?
Right. So job work basically refers to outsourcing specific manufacturing steps. Let's say you're a garment company. You might cut the fabric yourself, but then you send bundles of cut pieces out to an external workshop or tailor for stitching. That's job work.
I see.
The software needs to track that specific sub-process. Who has your materials? What stage is that outsourced work at? When is it due back? It's about making sure your overall stock counts and your production schedules don't get messed up because of delays or issues with that third-party step. It's vital for keeping the supply chain visible.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. That definitely addresses a major headache in those kinds of decentralized manufacturing setups. Now, let's shift gears a bit to the financial side, especially thinking about distributors and retailers who often have really complex pricing structures.
Yes, and this is where their flexible pricing system seems to come into play. In distribution, you rarely have just one price for everyone, right? KMS BUSY allows pricing to be tailored in different ways. Company-wise, group-wise, or right down to the item-wise level. That kind of flexibility lets distributors compete effectively.
So different prices for different customer groups or specific items.
Exactly. And for distributors, it gets even more granular. They can set pricing item-wise, dealer-wise, customer-wise, and even company-wise dealer pricing. Plus, the system gives them specific reports on things like dealer-wise stock levels, sales figures, outstanding payments, and even scheme reports like tracking special offers or discounts.
That allows for things like loyalty pricing or handling bulk discounts pretty efficiently then. And I have to say, I was really struck by one specific retail feature mentioned, tracking outstanding interest.
Ah, yes. That detail is fascinating, isn't it? Because it suggests the software is directly responding to maybe very local credit practices, perhaps related to small-scale lending or those informal credit terms sometimes extended to regular customers in certain markets.
Right, because standard accounting software usually just tracks the main amount owed the principal.
Exactly. This seems built to handle the nuances of those local financing relationships, tracking the interest component separately.
Okay, so this system can track everything from complex textile batches right down to micro-interest charges on local credit. That's quite the range. But all that detailed operational tracking doesn't mean much if the final step, getting the invoice right and satisfying the tax authorities, isn't handled properly. And this, as you said, is where it gets really interesting. The need for customization to handle tax compliance across, 8 different countries? The source material even states it pretty bluntly. Different countries having different taxes? Spelling aside, the point is clear.
Absolutely. You could argue this is the core engine, the raison d'etre, for KMS BUSY. It has to be customized for each country's specific tax requirements. And to show just how deep that localization goes, look at the list of tax acronyms it manages. GST and VAT are common enough.
Right, most people know those.
But it also integrates IT income tax, WHT withholding tax, FED federal excise duty, and CIT corporate income tax.
Okay, that's a serious alphabet soup of compliance. GST is familiar, but maybe quickly, why is automatically handling things like WHT and CIT such a big deal for a business owner? What's the value add there?
Sure. WHT withholding tax is crucial because it means the system can automatically calculate and manage taxes that need to be deducted at the source when making certain payments, like to contractors or suppliers. If the system does this correctly and helps generate the necessary certificates automatically, it saves a ton of administrative work and minimizes legal risks for the business.
Okay, avoids penalties and paperwork headaches.
Right. And CIT, corporate income tax, involves complex calculations and specific reporting formats to make sure the company's taxable profit is declared correctly. Having that integrated directly with your sales and expense data just vastly simplifies the whole quarterly and annual filing burden.
So the big win is cutting down the human error, the manual effort involved in managing all those different tax reporting lines. How does the software make sure that vital e-compliance piece, things like digital invoicing and shipment tracking required by governments now, is seamless?
Through automation, essentially. The sources talk about simplified GSP and e-compliance. You get automated GST billing, so it generates compliant invoices with the tax calculations done automatically and correctly. And crucially, it provides seamless integration for generating e-invoice and e-waybill right from within the software itself.
And we should probably just quickly note, we saw what looks like a typo in one spot in the source material mentioning KMS BUSY for e-document generation. We're assuming that just means KMS BUSY, right?
Yes. That seems almost certain to be a typo for KMS BUSY. The point is, it's designed to generate those mandatory electronic documents directly. That saves businesses an enormous amount of time and helps them avoid penalties that can come from manual data entry errors on government portals. It's all about simplification.
Makes sense.
And the final piece of that puzzle is the ready-to-file reports. The idea is you can generate all the required GST reports and returns with basically a single click. Plus, it offers powerful IT reports for analyzing business performance, too.
Okay, let's pull back a bit and look at the map. This whole complex system exists because of the specific market it's designed for, South Asian countries.
That's right. The scope mentioned covers Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka.
Just think about the challenge that represents from a software maintenance perspective.
Exactly. You're managing compliance updates and changes across 8 distinct tax regimes simultaneously. That's why that tax localization has to be so dynamic and so deeply embedded. It's a huge undertaking.
It really is. And interestingly, beyond just the software itself, the sources hint that there's a whole ecosystem of support around it, recognizing maybe that technology alone can't solve every single tax issue.
Precisely. They seem to understand that many compliance situations still need actual legal or accounting expertise. So they offer GST returns and income tax return services to their clients, apparently for additional charges.
Ah, okay. An add-on service.
Yeah. And this service isn't provided by the software developers themselves. It's delivered through formal tie-ups with a chartered accountant and legal company.
So the software is the platform, the tool, but then they connect you to the human experts when needed. That's smart.
It is. They position themselves not just as software providers, but more like a central hub for managing compliance.
And there's even an associated website mentioned, www.mysteatservice.com, which kind of underlines that commitment to providing access to external professional support.
It's a necessary strategy, really, given the complexity.
Yeah.
If tax regulations suddenly change in, say, Bangladesh, the software team updates the code. But that tie-up ensures the business owners can also get specific advice from a CA on how to implement that change correctly within their own unique operations.
Okay, that makes sense. And finally, before we wrap up, we have to mention a crucial piece of advice included in the sources. It's good advice for any major software purchase, really.
What's that?
It says, in all caps, before purchase must read and understand terms and conditions for a long-time relationship.
Yes. Very direct.
It signals that integrating a system like this is a serious commitment, not just a casual buy. We should also quickly note they provide their registration office location for transparency, Hyderabad 500-0074, along with contact details.
Good to know, full transparency.
So after digging through all this, what's the main takeaway for you, the listener? What's the core lesson from this deep dive into KMS BUY?
I think the key insight is seeing how the evolution of really essential business software is increasingly being driven by these very specific, micro-level, localized compliance needs. This exploration shows that managing all those complex parts accounts, cash flow, inventory, and filing multiple types of complex tax returns like GST, VAT, IT, WHT can actually be streamlined into one integrated platform. But, and this is the crucial part, only if that platform is built from the ground up, specifically for the unique and very varied demands of the environment it operates in. It's about deep customization married tightly with integration. That level of precision seems to dictate everything.
I agree completely. That precision is the real story here. And it leaves me thinking, given that this software is tailored to such an extreme degree, like needing that specific agriculture officer report for pesticide shops, what other hidden, maybe hyperlocal compliance needs might be out there ready to shape the next generation of essential business software? Maybe it's regulations about specific regional product labeling or complex rules for tracking waste disposal between states or districts. It makes you think about how these local rules don't just create paperwork, they actively dictate how future software has to be designed and used. Something to definitely chew on.
Thank you for watching this video. If you like this, please follow, like, share, and subscribe.